The city of Los Angeles never sleeps, and its underbelly never rests. Beneath the glimmering skyline, secrets fester in shadowed alleyways and abandoned warehouses. It was a warm spring evening when the world's calm shattered for one family. Clint Eastwood's son, Jake Eastwood, had vanished without a trace. A charismatic and fearless young man, Jake had inherited his father's steely determination, though he had yet to face the kind of darkness that would test every fiber of his being. The perpetrators were unthinkable, a well-organized racist gang, notorious for their brutal enforcement, terrorizing neighborhoods while flaunting their power. But the unlikeliest detail sent shockwaves across the nation. The gang's leader was none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Known for his heroic persona and global admiration, The Rock had disappeared from the public eye, only to resurface in a role that defied reason. Rumors swirled, whispers of betrayal, and the unimaginable became reality. As the clock ticked and law enforcement scrambled to act, Clint Eastwood prepared himself for a fight that no badge could mediate. Every moment that Jake remained in their clutches pushed the family closer to the edge of desperation. But Jake was not just a victim. He carried the legacy of a man who had stared down death on the silver screen and in real life. What followed would shock everyone, a story of cunning, courage, and a confrontation that would make headlines across the globe. This was more than a rescue. It was a reckoning. Jake Eastwood had been visiting a friend in downtown Los Angeles when the first sign of trouble appeared. The streets were unusually quiet for a Friday evening, and a thick fog rolled off the bay, muting the city's usual vibrancy. As he stepped out of his car, a black van pulled up silently beside him. Two masked figures jumped out, moving with military precision. Before Jake could react, one grabbed him, while the other shoved a cloth over his mouth. The pungent scent of chemicals filled his nose as he struggled, but resistance was futile. The van sped away, weaving through the streets with an almost inhuman skill. Jake tried to memorize the route, noting landmarks in his mind, but the city blurred past. When the vehicle finally stopped, he was dragged into a dimly lit warehouse on the outskirts of the industrial district. His captors, speaking in low, menacing tones, revealed the impossible. Their leader was The Rock. At first, Jake laughed in disbelief. It couldn't be him. Dwayne Johnson, Hollywood's beloved icon, the champion of justice, a man millions admired. "You're in my world now," The Rock said, his voice low but commanding. "And your family's fame won't save you." Jake's mind raced. He had trained in self-defense, taken courses his father insisted on. But this wasn't just an attack. It was a statement. The gang wasn't after money. They were after fear. And The Rock, he was orchestrating it with terrifying precision. Hours stretched into a tense night. Clint Eastwood had been informed of the kidnapping via an anonymous tip. The news hit him like a freight train. He had spent decades portraying heroes on screen, but nothing had prepared him for the helplessness of a father in this situation. He knew the police would try to negotiate, to analyze every detail, but Clint trusted only himself to protect his son. He assembled a discreet team, people he had worked with quietly over the years, security experts, old friends from film sets who had real tactical experience, and one or two retired military operatives. Each man and woman was chosen for their discretion and loyalty. Clint studied every possible angle of the gang's operations. Social media posts, CCTV footage, even the minutest rumor was scrutinized. And then there it was, a pattern. The Rock's gang had a ritualistic schedule, predictable movements that could be exploited. The key was timing. Strike too early, and Jake would be in mortal danger. Wait too long, and the gang might vanish with him. Clint's face hardened as he laid the plan before his team. They would infiltrate the warehouse at night under the cover of darkness, using distractions to split the gang. Meanwhile, inside the warehouse, Jake Eastwood's fear transformed into determination. He studied the room, memorizing the weak points in the walls, the placement of cameras, even the faint draft coming from a vent near the ceiling. Using his phone, smuggled in via a clever concealment in his jacket, he sent a coded message to his father's team, a single string of numbers representing his coordinates. Jake's training kicked in. He improvised tools, creating a lock-picking device from a hairpin and some wires. Each movement was calculated, precise, and quiet. Night after night, Jake observed the gang. They were disciplined, yes, but not infallible. He learned their schedules, the subtle hierarchy, and the moments when guards were distracted. The young Eastwood understood one truth. Courage was not the absence of fear, but action in spite of it, and he was ready to act. Clint's team moved under the cover of darkness. Black-clad operatives scaled walls, disabled cameras, and quietly neutralized guards without raising alarms. They split into two groups, one to create a diversion, the other to breach the inner sanctum where Jake was held. Every step was choreographed, every heartbeat measured. Inside, Jake was already in motion. He picked the lock with practiced patience and crawled through the vent system, emerging just as one of the guards returned. Using the element of surprise, he incapacitated the guard and made his way toward the rendezvous point. Outside, Clint observed the operation through thermal cameras. His heart raced as he watched his son move through the warehouse with precision and courage that rivaled seasoned operatives. Every second was critical. One wrong move could end everything. Then it happened. The Rock appeared, sensing the breach. His eyes locked on Jake, and for a moment time seemed to freeze. The iconic actor, the champion, the wrestler, now an antagonist, stood in the middle of the warehouse, a mountain of muscle and authority. Clint and Jake exchanged a fleeting glance, the unspoken understanding clear. This confrontation would define the night. "You've trained well," The Rock said, his voice calm but threatening. "But training won't save you." Jake stepped forward, fear tempered by resolve. "I don't need saving," he replied. "I need you to stop this. You're better than this." A tense standoff followed, each measuring the other. The warehouse echoed with the distant sounds of Clint's team neutralizing the remaining gang members. It was more than a fight. It was a battle of wits, courage, and moral conviction. Jake's calmness, his refusal to give in to panic, surprised The Rock. For the first time, the gang leader hesitated, considering the path he had taken. Clint arrived, stepping into the warehouse, his presence commanding and steady. "You don't have to do this," Clint said, voice echoing in the cavernous space. "You can walk away." The Rock paused, the conflict in his eyes visible. In that moment, the tension broke. Jake ran into his father's arms, relief washing over both. The media would later hail it as a daring rescue, but Clint and Jake knew it was more than that. It was a testament to courage, intelligence, and the bonds that cannot be broken. The Rock faced legal consequences, but later expressed remorse publicly, emphasizing the importance of choosing a positive path over destruction. The Eastwoods emerged stronger, their bond unshaken. Jake returned to his life with a newfound confidence, forever marked by the night he faced one of the most unlikely adversaries in history. Los Angeles slowly returned to its rhythm, the shadows retreating as light reclaimed the streets. Yet the story remained, a tale of suspense, bravery, and the astonishing realization that courage can come from even the most unexpected places. The legend of that night, the meeting of cinematic titans in a battle for justice, would live on as a reminder that sometimes even fiction cannot match the twists and turns of real life. If you enjoyed this story and want more thrilling cinematic tales like this one, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Your support keeps these stories alive and helps us bring even more powerful moments to your screen. Until next time, stay inspired, stay strong, and keep believing in courage, even in the darkest times.